Okay, specifically going back to Friday, Attorney Kettles, is there any specific issue that you want to, understanding the argument generally speaking, is there anything, if we parse this going forward as opposed to going backward, is there any specific issue going backward?
Going backward, Judge, I think that
As hearsay, defense counsel was given every opportunity to discuss the defendant's impression of those texts and what it meant. The testimony is what it is from last week.
so. This is the same issue we're having on Friday. If they're offered not for their truth, but for the impact on Mr. Duren, they're non-hearsay. That's what the rules of evidence say. That's what the case law says.
With respect to texts, one of the things that I discussed during the bench conferences was there a specific text message that, out of many, that defendant wanted to introduce? And I know there was a large portion or a large volume of text messages. I note there wasn't any specific motion in limine relative to the voluminous text messages that are likely to exist. I haven't seen them. They weren't provided to me, not that they had to be provided to me, but again, I would note that there wasn't a specific motion in limine relative to text messages so that they can be appropriately sanitized and addressed, which is typically what happens when there's a slew of text messages in any case. In modern communication habits, modern technology, modern society, communication, there's a lot of text messages that go on. And my experience is typically if those are going to be highly probative on any issue, they will specifically be brought to the court's attention for purposes of editing and sanitizing what is usually quite a lot of hearsay and quite a lot of issues that come up, whether it's in texts or emails, quite frankly. And I note there wasn't a specific motion in limine relative to text messages. And again, I think that the state of the evidence on Friday was that I was allowing defendant to testify about the effect of the text messages on him. So again, is there a specific issue within the scope of that, within the scope of my prior rulings? Is there something specific that defense counsel, one specific text or comment that the defendant is asking me to reconsider at this point in time?
Yes, Judge. As I mentioned on Friday, a specific text that we were seeking to admit, and I'm not seeking to have this entire packet admitted to the jury.
Okay.
Mr. Duren can testify what the texts he received are, and that would be sufficient. So the ones that I think are particularly at issue are the text messages where Mr. Duren asks, "So were you planning to stay with her, or are you staying at our house?" And Ms. Naffziger responds, "I spent most of my childhood running out the back door barefoot and hiding in the woods. I am not going to trap myself in an unfamiliar place where I am uncomfortable for several consecutive days. No one benefits from someone being debilitatingly anxious." And Mr. Duren responds, "Okay." The second step.
Okay, so let's stop right there. So are you seeking to admit that one?
Yes, I'd like to have Mr. Duren testify as to that exchange.
Okay. Attorney Duren.
Your Honor, we understand that defense counsel is standing in front of this court saying that we're not trying to what the basis of her anxiety is, why she would feel trapped. We're not able to get into the relationship with Mr. Duren in terms of Ms. Naffziger's feelings, but that sure brings some of them up. Your Honor, the exact content of the text message is exactly what defense counsel is trying to get into. They're trying to put that in. Otherwise, the impression that Mr. Duren has from it is sufficient. She wasn't going to stay there, and he has testified to that over the last 3.5 hours.
As to that specific text message, motion to reconsider as to that specific message denied. Next one.
Yes, Judge, and again, this is a set that I reviewed specifically with the court on Friday.
Yep.
Is it just you and Brenda? Is the question from Mr. Duren. The response is, "She'll drop me in Valen. She has to get back to work more," from Ms. Naffziger. And then Mr. Duren says, "Is she picking you back up then?" And Judge, I think we have a fundamental issue here, which is that the content itself is admissible as non-hearsay. Not just the response of like, this is how the text made me feel, but that what the text says is admissible under Gabusi, McPherson, under Plantamuro, and under Rule 801 C2. And so it's not just the response, because the response is meaningless without understanding what causes the effect on Mr. Duren.
Okay, with respect to that one, Attorney Duren.
Your Honor, if that's defense counsel's argument, then they're arguing that the response comes in for the truth. They're arguing that the response itself and the content of it is what the jury should consider.
The effect on Mr.
But
Duren.
what the effect is on Mr. Duren, he has testified to. And the only effect, it's not like it affects him in any way other than based on that text message, he knows that Brenda isn't going to be at the restaurant. He doesn't know what's going to happen at the end. He knows she's dropping Caitlyn off. The content of the text message is what defense counsel is trying to get in here. They're attempting to be able to put that conversation in front of this jury and put it in as truth and fact, which is fine, but that makes it hearsay, and there are statements inside of these text messages that are not admissible. And as such, Mr. Duren has, and again, he testified for 3 hours on Friday about the background. We haven't even gotten to the crime that this jury is here to consider, and defense counsel now wants to get back into something that he's already testified to, which is that he knew when he went to the restaurant that Caitlyn didn't have a ride, that she was dropped off and left there. It's been testified to. It's very clear this jury already has it. And the state relies on its arguments that were made at the bench and relies on the ruling of the court.
And Judge, as I stated on Friday afternoon at the bench, for statements that are not admitted for their truth, the defense would not object to a limiting instruction, saying these are being admitted not for their truth, but for the effect on Mr. Duren.
And with respect to the statements that you've just indicated relative to that text message, number one, I fail to see the distinction between how they're not being offered for their truth. In other words, I understand the effect upon Mr. Duren. He's testifying about the effect that it's receiving upon him. He's testifying about the scope of his knowledge as it relates to what he's thinking, as it relates to his objective state of mind. In other words, what he's going to do next. And I think he's also testified relative to his subjective state of mind, the effect that it has upon him. And I fail to see the evidentiary value when it seems to me that they are being offered for their truth as it relates to the effect upon what's going to happen during the day compared to the effect that it has upon him as a listener. So it seems to me that they are being offered for their truth. I understand that you're arguing that they're not being offered for their truth, but the truth of the statement is the effect that it has upon the listener under the circumstances.
Judge, let me give an example. If I am in a car accident, if my car is hit by a red car, and I call the police and I say, I just got in a car accident, I just got hit by a blue car, and the police then go and stop a blue car that they feel was involved in the offense.
Mhm.
My statement, I just got hit by a blue car, is admissible, the statement itself, for its effect on the listener, even though it's not true. So regardless of the truth of the statement itself had an effect on the listener, and that's the reason why it's being admitted. So whether or not, right, this statement would be admissible under its theory, whether Brenda had gone with him or not, her or not, whether or not it was true. It's not about the truth of the statement. The fact that it happens to be correct is irrelevant under this theory of admissibility. It is the fact that that had an effect on Mr. Duren, and he did something, he felt something in response. The same way the police would do something in response to my statement, I got hit by a blue car.
Understood.
Just to be clear, Your Honor, my notes from the testimony indicates that the defendant stated that based on the text conversation, he knew that Brenda was going to drop Caitlyn off. That confused him because it was a long drive. So all of this is already there, and none of it is relevant to whether he murdered Ms. Naffziger or acted in self-defense.
Okay, with respect to that one, again, right now we're going backwards. With respect to backwards, I will deny any motion reconsideration relative to that specific statement, again, going backwards. Next statement, Attorney Kettles.
Judge, the rest I think is an issue that'll come up
Prospective?
prospectively.
Prospective, okay. And understood relative to prospective as well. But are you satisfied with the argument retrospective?
Yes, Judge.
Okay, all right. Anything further on that?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. Okay, anything further at this point, Attorney Duren?
No, Your Honor.
Okay. All right. Ready for jury counsel?
Yes, I'll just ask Mr. Duren to retake the stand.
Okay, please. Okay.
All rise for the honorable jury. Morris County Superior Court is now in session. The Honorable Jonathan Duren presiding.
Okay, good morning, thank you. Please be seated. Okay, good morning, members of the jury. Thank you for your service. Thank you for your punctuality. As I've asked you in the past, I'll ask you again, because there is a media presence with respect to this particular proceeding. I have instructed you to not avoid any exposure relative to any media coverage, but I would ask you now if you have received any media coverage, as you've received any information or have reviewed anything relative to any media coverage, even if it was inadvertent, I would ask that you please raise your hand and indicate so that we can address it. Okay, let the record reflect that none of the jurors have raised their hands. Thank you very much for adhering to my instructions, following my instructions. And with that, we'll proceed. Attorney Kettles? And Mr. Duren, you're still under oath, sir. Yes.
Dustin, where we left off yesterday, you had just returned from the library and eaten lunch. Can you tell me what happened after lunch?
So this was at the house. Caitlyn, Elowen, and Valen were all playing in the girls' room. And at that point, I'm just kind of working on things, kind of getting stuff set up for the weekend and the following week. And then every so often, I would go to the room just to ask, hey, what's going on? Is Brenda picking you up here? Are we meeting her somewhere? Just what's the plan? What is going on?
What did Caitlyn say in response?
She was not responding. She was completely ignoring me, just kept playing with the girls. So about every 15, maybe it was a half an hour, maybe every 15 minutes, a half an hour, I would come back and ask again, hey, what's going on? What is the plan? And she just kept ignoring me.
What did you think when she kept ignoring you?
So I don't know what's going on. So with backing up to what was happening prior to, again, she was saying that she didn't want to stay at the house, which is fine. But then all of a sudden Brenda isn't coming with us to the restaurant. She's not staying there. She wanted to come back to the house all of a sudden. I'm confused about what is going on. There's a lot going through my head. And one of the things that's in the back of my head, which is why I'm bringing up these stories in the first place, is that the last time she was ignoring me and not telling me what was going on was when she stole Valen out of Nevada.
At some point, did you tell Caitlyn that she couldn't stay in your apartment anymore?
Yes. So this is when I'm continually asking her about what's going on, I'm saying, hey, I said that you could stay the night, but you can't stay longer. So what is the plan? You can't stay here. What is the plan? Like, if I need to drive you all the way back to Hampton, fine, but I need to know what is going on.
What was the next thing that she did besides just ignoring you and playing with the girls?
So eventually, at this point, it was getting dark. And eventually, as I'm saying this, she finally gets up. She still hasn't said anything, but she finally gets up and goes to the couch in the living room. And she's on her phone. I don't know what she's doing. It looks like she's texting. So I'm thinking, okay, progress is being made. Like, okay, I'm assuming she's texting Brenda. Okay, she's figuring something out. Good, we're making progress here.
Did you ask her again what the plan was?
So after, again, I don't know how long this would have been, maybe 10 or 15 minutes. But again, she wasn't saying anything. So I'm asking again, are you talking with Brenda? Like, what's going on? What's the plan? And she's still not saying anything. So at this point, like, I'm obviously pretty frustrated. At this point, I'm just saying, okay, you know what? You're not responding. We're clearly not getting anywhere here. So then I'm making the decision that then I'll drive you all the way back to Hampton. I'll drive you the 3 hours or whatever it is, all the way back there. But we need to leave now. You can't be here any longer. We need to leave now.
And what was going through your head at this point that you're telling her we need to leave now?
So again, I don't know what's going on. And again, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, oh, the last time that she wasn't communicating with me was in Nevada with Valen. And I don't know who she's texting. She's sitting on her phone. I don't know who she's texting. If, like, did people come to New Hampshire with her? I don't know. Was she texting other people to, like, come to the house and that's why she didn't want to leave? Like, I didn't know what was going on. I wanted her out of the house. I did not know the situation. I did not know what was going on, but something was happening. Something was seriously wrong. I wanted to get out of the house.
And what did you do next?
So at this point, this is when I get Valen and I start putting her in the car seat. And so I'm putting her in the car seat in front of the kitchen, sort of at the doorway in front of the kitchen, also in front of the doorway to the bathroom, and it's in the hallway that leads outside to the garage. So I'm putting her in the car seat. At this point, Elowen she's still kind of playing in the room and going back and forth and seeing what we're doing. So at this point, she's out like, okay, we're going somewhere. So she comes out and she's standing behind me in the kitchen. And this is when Caitlyn gets up from the couch, grabs Elowen, and then takes her back to the couch.
When she takes her back to the couch, how are the two of them seated?
So, yeah, after I finish buckling in Valen, then I go into the living room, and I see, so Elowen's sort of straddling Caitlyn's right leg. She's facing me, so like Elowen's legs are on the outside of Caitlyn's right leg. And then she's facing out towards me. And at this point, just one arm, Caitlyn has one arm around Elowen, like around her chest.
And what did you do when you saw Caitlyn holding Elowen from behind?
So I just started saying, hey, what are you doing? We need to go. And at this point, this is really to where the first time she said anything in which she just said, no, I'm not leaving.
What did you do when she said, no, I'm not leaving?
So again, I start saying, no, we need to leave. We need to go. And at this point, I go up and I try to grab Elowen. And what ends up happening is she pulls back on Elowen and sort of yanks her out of my reach, like away from me. So she yanks her back, and I immediately step back, going, whoa, 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 what is going on? What are you doing? Let Elowen go.
And so Caitlyn yanks Elwyn back. How is she holding Elwyn at this point?
So at this point, just again this was with, I guess probably one arm at this point, but holding her across the chest and then like yanking her backwards.
And you said you let go. Why did you let go?
Because I couldn't hurt Elwyn. I didn't want her to be hurt.
And what did you do next after you let go?
So I'm really trying to ask, like, what is going on now? Like something is seriously wrong. What is going on? And this is where she first starts really talking, and where now she's making these demands for just a substantial amount of money that there's no way that I could pay her. And I'm telling her this, like, I can't get you this kind of money. Like, I don't have this kind of money. I'm paying you what I can. I'm sending you what I can. I can't pay this. And then at this point, this is where she's saying, or now threatening, that then, oh, if I can't pay her, then she's going to say that I kidnapped Elwyn from Minnesota without her permission, and that she was going to call the cops and have me arrested, and that then I would never see the kids again.
And just to be clear, had you kidnapped Elwyn from Minnesota without Caitlyn's permission?
No.
And what are you thinking at this point that you're hearing these threats?
So at this point, I think the best way to describe this, I think, is in like a Marine Corps color code system. So it's like a situational awareness, like an internal radar system, but to where just naturally, just a normal person would just be in white. Like their radar is off. They're not, like you're walking into a restaurant and you're not concerned with, like you're not thinking about threats. You're thinking about like what's there to eat. But I think combat vets, probably police officers, I think can say the same thing, that they're probably going into a restaurant and they're just kind of aware of maybe suspicious people or suspicious things that are around, or they want to sit in a corner booth or with their backs against the wall so that they can visually see things. So that's just a natural yellow, like your radar's on a natural yellow.
And what is your radar on most of the time?
Yellow. So I'm constantly on yellow.
And at this point, as Caitlyn is making these threats, what does your internal radar do?
So now at this point, I'm in orange, which
orange?
is, so I'm now seeing a potential threat. I'm seeing my child being restrained to where I can't get to her. I'm thinking of all the suspicious stuff that has been happening about how there's some sort of plan going on, but I don't know about what's happening. And now and with these threats now and her not leaving, like something is seriously wrong, something is seriously happening. And with her now holding Elwyn hostage and making these demands, my radar's on. It's on orange. I'm seeing a potential threat, and now I'm observing what else is going on. So at this point, this is where I'm thinking, okay, weapons. Okay, my desk, or my gun is on my desk next to the couch. I'm thinking of the knives that are behind me. I'm thinking of the doorways, like the front door is behind me. I'm thinking, is it locked? I think it is. The front door, or the door that's in front of me is the back door towards the garage. I'm thinking, okay, that door I think is unlocked. I'm conscious of, oh, she's been sitting on her phone. Is she texting someone? Are people coming to the house? Because I don't know what's going on. She's on her phone. Is people coming to the house? And that's why she doesn't want to leave. So now I'm thinking, I'm conscious of like the windows. Are there lights shining in the windows? Like, is someone pulling up? Are there car doors shutting? Are there people talking outside? I'm just listening for all this stuff. It's just this heightened sense, the situational awareness, where I'm just in a heightened state trying to figure out just everything that's going on.
And what do you do while you're in this heightened state? What do you ask Caitlyn?
So I'm now again, I'm just trying to say, hey, just let Elowen go. Like what, really just let Elowen go. And trying to figure out like what is going on. And again, she's just talking about these, like how she wants money. And oh, if I can't pay her this money, then I need to sell my car and give her the money from my car. And again, I'm trying to explain, like, I can't do this. I'm sending her what I can. I can't send her this money. And then she just continually threats that, okay, then you're never going to see the girls again.
She tells you you're never going to see the girls again?
Yes.
And what was she doing while she was telling you she's going to take your girls and you'll never see them again?
She's holding Elowen hostage in front of me, using her as leverage to try to get what she wanted.
What are your daughters doing at this point?
So Elowen's crying, and this is why I'm saying, like, Elowen, like, she's smart. She knows when something wrong is happening. So she's crying already. Vaylin's crying. She's in the hallway, and I can't specifically see her. Like, at this point, too, I can't take my eyes off of Elowen or Caitlyn. And, like, I don't even want to go into the kitchen to check on Vaylin. Like, I can't just take my eyes off of them. This potential threat, I can't go over there and check on Vaylin. So that's stressing me out, too, of Vaylin crying in the hallway. It's just adding to the stress.
So what do you do?
So at this point, I'm saying again, just let Elowen go. And I try to grab Elowen again. And at this point, again, now I'm trying harder to get her. So now Caitlyn is trying harder to keep her away from me. So again, she's pulling Elowen in tight and yanking her away from me. And so again, I back up because I don't want Elowen to get hurt in this situation.
And what do you do after the second time you try unsuccessfully to get Elowen out of this situation?
So at this point, and this is when I'm talking about the point that I'm yelling. At this point, I am yelling. I'm yelling like, what the hell do you want? I'm just screaming like, what the hell do you want? What is going on? Like, let Elowen go. And she's refusing to do it. She's just saying no, like, I need to pay her. And again, if I wasn't doing that, then I was never going to see the girls again.
And what was Caitlyn doing? You've said what she was saying, but how is she holding Elowen at this point?
So she's still got her at this point, still one arm, like maybe, maybe the other arm is like on her hand or something. Like, this isn't full bear hug. This is like one arm around her chest, but yes.
And what is going through your mind?
So I'm trying to figure out what to do. Just with everything that's going on, I'm trying to figure out, like, how can I get Elowen out of this situation? And I'm just pleading, like, please just let Elowen go. Just please let her go. And at this point, she's not responding. And to her phone, I'm noticing to her phone, because her phone was sitting down on the couch at this point, but it was on the couch and it was flashing, like white flashes, like she's getting texts or something like that. So again, I'm like, I don't know what's going on. All I'm thinking of is I need to get Elowen out of this situation, just getting out of here.
And you had said earlier that what was going through your mind was that Caitlyn had kidnapped Vaylin before.
Yes.
Overall,
What's different this time?
I mean, the big difference is because she's literally holding Elwyn hostage in front of me. She's using her as leverage to try and get what she wants.
And what are you saying at this point?
Again, I'm just pleading for her to just let Elwyn go. And yeah, she's just not, at this point, she's just not responding to me anymore.
What do you do next?
So this is when I try to make this final attempt to get Elwyn. So my thought is, okay, I'll try to grab like Caitlyn's wrist that's across Elwyn. I'll try to grab her wrist. I'll try to get behind Elwyn's back to pull her away, to like simultaneously pull her arm and pull her away. So when I attempt this, when I try to do this, then that's when Caitlyn goes full bear hug. She's then squeezing Elwyn harder. She's yanking her away, like twisting her body and yanking her away from me. And two, she's putting her right foot up on the table. So her knee is up, and so Elwyn, being straddled on her leg, she puts her knee up, braces it on the table, and is also using her leg to pull Elwyn back away from me. And just the big thing that happened here is Elwyn screaming, Elwyn yelling. And that was the point to where, again, I let go after Elwyn's scream. And I'm locking eyes with Elwyn, and she's crying. She just let out this scream, and this is where, when I'm talking about the line was crossed, this is what I'm talking about. I'm talking about Elwyn now physically being hurt in front of me. And that was the line.
And what's going through your mind at this point when you've locked eyes with Elwyn and you can see that she's been hurt?
So then this is probably the best way to describe this, again, is through this system, this color system, to where now I'm going from orange to red, to where I see an immediate danger. I'm seeing an immediate threat to Elwyn, and I have to take action immediately to save Elwyn. And that's really what's going through my head. The single thing of, I have to get Elwyn out of this situation immediately.
What do you do?
So this is where I'm talking about, to where I say it's like, it was like muscle memory. It was like training coming out, to where I didn't have to think about what was happening. It was like I was trained for this, and this is what I'm supposed to do. But I take then, and this is also, again, this is, like I said, it was really, really fast. The entire thing probably took like 3 to 5 seconds max. I take the 2 steps over, grab the gun. As I'm taking probably the 3 steps back over, I'm chambering around into the gun. I grab Elwyn by the shirt collar, the front of her shirt collar. I pull her forward, not to me. I pull her forward to get some sort of distance between her and Caitlyn. Pull her forward, and then fire.
Is Elwyn still in Caitlyn's arms when you shoot?
Yes.
What happens after you fire?
So immediately after I shoot, so I'm holding Elwyn by the collar. She's, again, Caitlyn is still bear hugging Elwyn at this point, but the moment I shoot, that's when Caitlyn releases. I pull Elwyn fully into me, and I immediately run out the door and run to my car.
After you run to your car, what do you do?
So once I'm in the car, this is when, again, the very first thing I'm thinking of is I need to make sure that Ellen is okay. So we sit down in the car and I'm just checking her over, like physically, to make sure that there's nothing wrong with her, that there's no physical injuries wrong with her. I'm like checking through her hair to make sure that there's just nothing wrong. And there wasn't, but all she's complaining about is she's covering her ears and saying loud, loud. But she's still responding to me. I know she can still hear me, but she's just complaining that it was loud. And as I'm checking her over, I'm not seeing anything physically wrong with her. There's also nothing on her. So I'm making sure that she was okay, and she was physically okay.
Once you make sure that Ellen is physically okay, what happens next?
So at this point, this is when I said this, to where this is when I realized what had happened, to where, like, consciously I'm realizing this wasn't just someone that I shot. This was Caitlyn. This was someone that I cared about, who was important to me and my family and my kids. This wasn't just some random person. And I immediately felt horrible. And I didn't understand what was going on. Like, why was this happening? What just happened? Why was this happening? I didn't understand it. So at this point, I'm just trying to figure out what am I supposed to do? I didn't know what I was supposed to do at this point. I'm not thinking like, yeah, I'm not thinking, oh, I'm justified actually because of XYZ. I'm thinking, no, I just shot someone that is not just a random person. This was Caitlyn. I didn't know. I'm trying to figure out what to do. And this is again to when just sort of basic instinct is coming out, to where I'm thinking, well, I need to make sure that my kids are okay. So I'm thinking, okay, Elowen is physically okay, but I need to make sure that she's mentally okay too. I need to, because again, I don't know who she was texting, if people were coming to the house. I didn't know what was going on. I wanted to get out of the area, out of the immediate area first. And I wanted to spend time with the girls to make sure that they were mentally okay. So at this point, this is where I'm literally running into the house, just grabbing necessities. I'm like, okay, I'm just grabbing clothes. I'm grabbing blanket. I'm grabbing a pillow. I'm like grabbing like food, water. I'm just grabbing necessities to just bring back to the car. This all probably took maybe 5 minutes total as I'm just running in the house and just grabbing things. I know, yeah, I grabbed my computer and my hard drive. I guess it was because, okay, my computer is my life outside of my kids. Like, this is where I do all my work. Like, my hard drive, literally the only thing that's on my hard drive is all backups of my work. So I guess I'm just thinking like, oh, well, this is a necessity. I just have to grab it. So I just grab it. And as I put all this stuff in the car, then immediately take off after that probably took like 5 minutes.
Did you turn out the lights and deadbolt the door?
I mean, I guess. I don't consciously remember doing it, but I guess it makes sense because that's just what I would normally do. Like, hey, I'm leaving the house, I'm turning off the lights, I'm locking the door. I mean, deadbolting the door, I don't even think I had the key to the actual doorknob. I think the only key I had was for the deadbolt, so I guess it was just something natural that I would do as I'm leaving the house, is just turn off the lights and lock the door.
And so, have you also put Valen in the car at this point?
Yeah, yes, yes, Valen's in the car as well, yes. She's if it's not obvious, she was the very first thing I went and got from the house, yes.
And what did you do next once you had packed up the car?
So at this point, I immediately got out of the immediate area. And Elwyn and Valen, they both fell asleep pretty much immediately once I started driving. So I just kept going. I just kept driving. Eventually, I got to Concord, and to where they're both awake at this point. And I wanted to, again, make sure that they were mentally okay. So I park, I think this was at like a CVS or a Walgreens or something. I park in a parking lot. And I sit down with them, I'm talking with them, I'm just making sure they're okay. I'm not talking about what just happened, I'm just asking if things are okay. And talking to Elwyn specifically, I knew Valen was her same old happy self, so I wasn't worried about Valen, and she wasn't even in the room when this was going on. But Elwyn, I'm talking to Elwyn, and she seemed good. She kept saying, like, I'm okay, Dad, I'm okay. And so at this point, now I'm thinking too, okay, well, I haven't received any texts from anyone. I don't know. Again, I don't know if people were coming to the house. I haven't heard anything. I don't know what's going on. I don't even know if anyone knew that what had happened. So I'm thinking I have to tell somebody. So at this point, I do three things. First I make a video just showing that we're all okay, that Elwyn and Valen specifically, that they're happy and that they're okay. So I just record a video. I'm telling Elwyn that I love her, and she's saying, I love you too, Dad, and I'm hugging her. And then Valen, I'm saying I love Valen, and Elwyn says, oh, I love you too, Valen, and we're just hugging and just making a recording showing that we're okay and we're happy, and that we're okay. And then I send that to my parents. The second thing I do, because I was already thinking this before I had called my parents, but I was thinking again, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was the right thing to do in this moment. And I didn't understand what was even happening at this point. What had happened, like the why, the what, but anyways, so I'm thinking, okay, I still want to spend more time with the girls. I want to, again, just make sure that specifically Elwyn is mentally okay. So I'm going on Google Maps, and I'm sort of planning a route west because I knew I was going to shut my phone off. So I'm planning a route southwest through New York, and I'm writing it down on a Post-it note, which the Post-it note that was still in the car, so you could literally see the route that I took. But I write it down on the Post-it note, and then 3, I call my parents.
Who do you speak to specifically?
So specifically, I call my mom, and I don't tell her anything specifically what happened. I just tell her that I shot Caitlyn, that the girls were okay, that I was gonna go dark for a little bit, as in turn my phone off, specifically because I didn't want anyone to find us at that point. I wasn't trusting anyone else to make sure that my girls were okay in that moment. Like, I was the only one that could make sure that my girls were okay. So I didn't want to be found at that moment. So anyways, I'm telling my mom this, and I'm telling her, hey, you also need to call the cops to make sure that they know what happened. And that was the extent of the conversation. I didn't tell her anything more than that.
Which of your parents did you think would call the cops?
I mean, I guess I would assumed it would be my dad, especially as a retired deputy. I assumed he would be the one to do it.
What did you do after you talked to your mom?
So at this point, this is where I did turn off my phone. And again, I just started driving southwest. So I drove kind of throughout the night, and made it somewhere into New York. To where it was specifically at a Love's gas station. And again, you could figure out where exactly I was from the Post-it note that I wrote down, like the directions on the Post-it note. You could find this gas station. But anyways, so I stopped there. I parked up. There was a gate or a fence in front of me, pulled up to that, and that was overlooking the freeway. Just pulled up to that, and then just the girls and I slept in the back seat and just slept for the night.
What did you do when you woke up?
So we woke up, everyone, again, Ellen seemed good. She just seemed like her happy self. I mean, we go into the gas station. I mean, we're using the restroom there. Where her interactions with Valen were all good, and everything seemed like she was acting normal, completely fine. We had breakfast there, and this is really at the point to where, because one of the things I was thinking of doing was to drive all the way back to Minnesota to get my kids to my parents, because no one knows my kids better than my parents. No one has been more involved with my kids than my parents. So they were my first thought of who could take care of them. So I was thinking of, okay, well, maybe I'll drive all the way back to Minnesota. But again, that seemed like a bad idea because just with the two girls, I mean, specifically with Valen too, being so young, it just didn't seem like a good idea. But to get back to it, Ellen specifically, again, she just seemed fine. She kept saying that, yeah, she's okay. And her interaction specifically with Valen, her interaction specifically with me, she seemed like her same old self. And this is really at the point to where I was thinking, okay, I'm not going to drive all the way back to Minnesota. I should probably turn myself in at some police station. And why I was thinking Concord specifically was because that's where I had originally called, and that was the last place my phone was, or where my phone was on. So that's just why I was thinking Concord. But anyways, so I started driving back. Took the same path back that I had originally driven. And then started thinking that, okay, now I want to get brunch with the girls. And it probably is fair to say that, yeah, I was probably delaying things. And that's probably fair to say that I probably was just delaying things, but I just thought, okay, I want to have brunch with them.
Before what?
Before turning myself in. So.
Did you have brunch with them before you turned yourself in?
No.
What happened?
So, as I'm driving through Keene, so I just entered New Hampshire, and I'm driving through Keene, and I'm looking at restaurants, and as I said before, I see the Applebees. I'm not looking at anyone else. By the way, I never even knew that there was an Amber Alert. I didn't even think about that would happen. So I didn't know that this was anything other than just police were trying to find me. I didn't think about anything. So anyways, I'm not like looking around at other people. I'm just looking at the Applebee's. And I've never been to Keene before. I've not been to this Applebee's. So I'm just trying to figure out like how do I get into the Applebee's? So I'm like taking a left, and then I'm like, okay, well now there's a median and I can't turn left into the Applebee's. So I'm like going around this roundabout and going back right, and I'm like taking a right, and I guess I turned into the convenient MD, I guess, but then obviously that's not the Applebee's. So I'm pulling in farther through it. And I pull up literally right in front of the door to the Applebee's.
And then what happens?
So I'm just looking at the hours sign. I'm trying to see the hours, and it was closed. But I'm just trying to look out my window, just trying to see the hours. And that's when I noticed the police officer behind me. And I honestly, I can't remember if he had lights on. I don't remember that. He didn't have a siren on.
What did you do when you noticed the police officer?
So at this point, I'm like, okay, well, now even if he's just pulling me over just for some random thing, they're probably going to look up my plate and then see something like that this call was made or whatever. So at this point, I pull forward into a parking spot. And then I'm leaning back. Ellen and Valen were still asleep at this time. I'm leaning back, and again, I'm thinking like, man, I really just want to hug them. And so I'm leaning back. I'm unbuckling Valen, reaching back, unbuckling her seat, and I'm trying to wake them both up. Like, Ellen, Valen, hey, wake up, wake up. And they're both starting to wake up. But at this point, this is when I start hearing people outside, like the officers outside, yelling at me to whatever, get my hands on the steering wheel or put them on the window. So at this point, I didn't want to do anything further. Like, I'm gonna follow their commands. I didn't want anything to happen to Ellen and Valen. I want to make sure that everything was good. So I was fully cooperating.
And what did you tell them?
So immediately I'm just yelling like, hey, there's kids in the car, just making sure that they know there's kids in the car. Like, be mindful of your weapons. There is kids in the car.
And what else do you tell them?
So as I'm backing up, and as I'm backing up and they're putting me in handcuffs, then I'm yelling too about how there's a gun in the door. So
Why are you telling them there's a gun in the door?
because it's loaded, and specifically it's in condition 1, so there's a round in the chamber, and the only reason is just because I didn't actually clear it afterwards. I didn't like take the magazine out and like unchamber the round. I just left it, just put on safe, left it, or set it in the door, the driver door.
Why did you tell them that the gun was there?
But just to make sure that they knew that there was a gun in the door. Like, I don't want them, like, whatever, bumping it or like grabbing it accidentally or just something, whatever. Just trying to be safe and just letting them know where a weapon is in the car.
And then were you taken into custody?
So yes, and then that's when, yes, specifically I'm put in that one police cruiser. The detective did come up to me prior to, in the doorway, and he didn't really say much. He was just asking if I was okay, and then two, if I wanted anything, if I needed food or something.
So let's talk about what happened when you were interviewed by the police, or when you spoke to the police.
Yes.
Why did you decide to give up your right to remain silent and talk to the police?
I felt like that was the right thing to do. I mean, I didn't have anything to hide. I'm still trying to figure it out. I'm like, maybe I can talk this through and like they'll help me try to figure out this out of what just happened. But I'm just trying to do the honorable thing, just trying to do the right thing.
How long after the incident did you speak to police?
So this was, I don't know like 15 hours, like 15 hours later. So really short time. So, I mean, too, again, I'm clearly in shock too, because I don't know, like, again, I'm still trying to figure out like the what, the why, the how, like, what is going on. But yeah, anyways.
And tell us what's going through your head, you know, what's kind of your emotional state while you're being interviewed?
So I'm not thinking of like, legally I'm justified, so this is completely fine. I'm thinking, no, I just killed someone, but not just someone. This wasn't just like a random person that was in the house. This was Caitlyn. This is the mother of my kids. This is like, I'm feeling just this incredible, really personal guilt of like, how did this happen? And there's this battle in my head of, I don't feel like I did something. Like, I don't feel like this is my fault. Like, I didn't want this. Like, I didn't put this position together. Like, I wasn't the one who brought this all together. I'm not the one who was like holding Elwyn hostage in front of me. I'm not the one that like was trying to plan all this stuff. Like, but at the same time, I still fired the shot. So I didn't know. I felt this really big, just personal guilt.
In your police interview, you told police it was definitely very fast and deliberate. And then a moment later, you said it was very, very fast, very deliberate. What did you mean when you said it was fast and deliberate?
So, again, with the fast, again, this, like I said, the entire process maybe took 3 seconds, like maximum 5 seconds. So again, incredibly fast. But two, I'm speaking about the physical action. I'm not talking about any sort of mental state. I'm talking about the physical action. But what I mean is like how meticulous it was, like how perfectly performed it was, to where, and especially with how fast it was, for everything to happen within 3 to 5 seconds, like those 2 steps, grabbing it, chambering it, the 3 steps back at the same time, the grabbing Elwyn, the firing, it was so fast and so meticulously performed. That's what I was trying to express.
So like the physical action was deliberate?
The physical action, yes.
You also told the police, it doesn't matter if she was threatening, I understand the consequences. What did you mean when you told the police, it doesn't matter if she was threatening, I understand the consequences?
Because again, this just goes back to like the biggest thing with all of this, like with everything, regardless of anything. My children don't have a mom anymore. And there's just this incredible personal guilt of like, even without me understanding what had happened, and now even too, when I do understand what happened, now, like, I could have prevented this situation from happening. I could have been this better partner. I could have been a better leader to where she would not have to even plan this out. Like, she wouldn't have to go to people like Brenda or be coerced into trying to do stuff like this. Like, I should have been this better person to where this situation shouldn't have even happened.
You told the police that you didn't know if you wanted to address whether you regretted shooting Caitlyn, and that it felt like a trap question. Why did it feel like a trap question?
So either response felt like the wrong response. So if I said yes, that I regretted shooting her, then that would mean that, oh, so previously I did want to, but now I don't. Well, that's incorrect. So that felt like a wrong response. But then if I say no, then that means, then I just don't care that she's dead, which is also a wrong response. So it felt like whatever I said was just not the right answer.
Along the same lines, you said, not that it even justifies anything, but she's just my everything. What did you mean by that?
So again, like, I don't mean to just keep rehashing the same thing, but obviously Elwyn's the purpose in my life. I mean, she really is my everything. And just like trying to understand what had happened, just trying to figure out, like, did it matter? Like, how much did that matter? Did it matter that she was hurting Elwyn in front of me? Did it matter that she was holding her hostage? And I'm just, again, I just felt so horrible for it that I'm just trying to, I don't know. I'm trying to do the right thing.
Give me 1 minute, Dustin. Dustin, at this point, I don't have any more questions for you.
Okay.
Or is this an appropriate time to take our morning break?
I was waiting to see what you would prefer. Okay, all right, members of the jury, we'll take a morning break now. It's before 10:15, so we'll get started at 10:25. We'll resume at 10:25. Again, please do not discuss the case amongst yourselves, and if anyone does, please report that to a bailiff. Thank you.
All right.
Court will be in recess. Thank you. Please be seated. Mr. Duren, again, you're still under oath. Thank you.
May I proceed, Your Honor? Mr. Duren, you testified on Friday that it was January 19th of 2024 when Caitlyn first sent you her flight information as to how she was going to come to New Hampshire with Valen. Is that correct?
Yes,
And you hadn't quite left from Minnesota at that point. You were in fact still there until the 20th, the next day.
yes,
So it was on January 19th that you knew that Caitlyn's ticket from Minnesota to Boston was for two people, correct?
well, it was a single ticket, but yes, with both, because Valen was only one at the time.
And you knew that it was a round-trip ticket for two passengers, correct?
Yes,
But your intention was, and the thought was, that Caitlyn wouldn't bring Valen back to Minnesota, that you would keep her there with you, correct?
yes,
And you wanted Caitlyn and believed that Caitlyn was going to go to Minnesota again after that.
for a few more months, yes,
She then was gonna move to New Hampshire and live about 2.5 hours away from you?
and if that was what she wanted, yes,
Were you gonna let her, you weren't gonna let her move into your house in Berlin, correct?
as I said earlier, I would have, if she wanted to have the conversation, I would have talked about it.
But you've testified and you have heard your statement where you told the police that your plan, as you discussed with your mom, when you would have victory was for when you had the girls and Caitlyn was gone, correct?
Because that was what was always the plan.
Now, you made it clear to police that you're a very calm person, correct?
Yes,
You do your best under stress,
I think so, yes,
and that's what you told them, correct?
yes,
Now, you've talked to us today about this Marine threat level that you function with in your daily basis, correct?
yes,
But as being a Marine, you were taught how to deal with stress, correct?
yes.
That's part of what that MCMAP training is, the Marine Combat Martial Arts Program.
Well, that's not about stress, but about drilling and training.
Well, it's a three-part process, right? It teaches you about intellectual stuff, mental training, as well as physical and disciplinary training, correct?
Sure, yes,
And so it teaches you as a Marine, because that's a high-stress job, right?
yes,
And you need to be able to assess threats, but still make decisions, correct?
yes,
All right. Now, you told the police that you only yelled at Caitlyn one time on January 29th, the day you killed her, correct?
yes.
But today you've testified that you were yelling at her, you were screaming at her, what's going on, give Elowen back, correct?
No,
No, you
I
weren't
s-
screaming at all?
I said this was the one time that I did yell.
So you
The
yelled
one
once?
time, yes, the one time where I was yelling, yes.
And you yelled just once, one yell.
Okay, maybe it was 2 sentences.
Could it have been more than 2 sentences?
No,
You were pretty frustrated, weren't you?
I was having justifiable emotions with my child being held hostage in front of me.
And those
But
motions
yes.
were frustration, correct?
You could say that, yes.
Anger, correct?
No, I don't think so.
You weren't angry, you just said she was being held hostage. That didn't
She
make
was.
you angry?
I was frustrated, yes, but I wouldn't go so far as to say that I was angry.
But it caused you to yell just once, and that's one of what, 3 times in your entire relationship.
Yes,
Now, there was no time on January 29th of 2024 where Caitlyn hit you, correct?
no,
She never struck you?
no,
She never struck Elowen?
no,
She never struck Valen?
No.
In the moments before you shot her, you described to police that she was holding Elowen in a bear hug, correct?
Yes.
Today you've described it as a one-arm hold, fair to say?
No, the bear hug was in the third attempt, the final attempt.
Okay, but before that, Caitlyn was only holding Elowen with one arm.
Sure, yes,
Caitlyn was 5 feet tall.
yes,
She was 114 pounds.
about, yeah,
Okay, well, you heard the medical examiner say he weighed her naked body, and she was 114 pounds, correct?
okay, yes,
Now, you are about 5'10", correct?
yes,
On your license, it says you were 190 pounds, fair to say?
yes,
You're bigger than she is,
yes.
stronger than she is.
But that has nothing to do with when she's holding my child hostage and restraining her.
Mr. Duren, you're bigger than she is, correct?
Yes,
You're stronger than she is,
yeah,
correct?
yes,
You've had martial arts training, correct?
yes,
You know how to fight with your hands.
yes.
And yet, when Caitlyn was holding Elowen with one arm, you couldn't get her away.
Without hurting Elowen, no.
Your testimony today is actually that you shot Caitlyn because she hurt Elowen in a moment when you tried to pull her away, correct?
Yes.
She had no weapons?
Well, actually, I
Mr.
should
Duren,
clarify.
You've answered the question. You had no weapons? I'm
I
sorry,
had?
she had no weapons?
She did not have a weapon, no.
She did not have a knife.
She did not have a knife, no.
Where you were standing, you had 2 pocket knives behind you in the room, correct?
In the bedroom,
In your bedroom?
yes, behind me,
The front door was behind you.
yes,
Where you were positioned in the living room, she would have to go through you to get to the back door, correct?
yes. That's why I didn't want to leave the immediate area, why I had to keep constant visual on her and Elowen.
But you didn't have constant visual on Valen, correct?
Sadly, no.
Caitlyn did not have a gun, correct?
No.
You had the gun.
Well,
right?
the gun was, technically, the gun was closer to her, but there was a gun in the room, yes.
Now, let's talk about that. Caitlyn was at your house. She spent the night.
Yes,
At some point, however, even though you were nervous, because you've described that the whole time she was there, you wanted her to leave, right?
I wouldn't say I was nervous that night or the morning.
But you wanted her to leave.
Yes,
You were suspicious, right?
yes,
Because you hadn't expected her to come to the house.
no,
You testified that that made you nervous, correct?
yes, yes,
So you were nervous.
okay, yes,
Now, you have a gun safe in that house, a gun lockbox, right?
I do, yes,
It's in the back bedroom, right when you walk in from the back door, correct?
yes,
You didn't put the gun in that lockbox, right?
no. The gun is always near me.
Except when it's in the lockbox?
I guess it would depend on the situation, but it would have been rarely in the safe.
When the gun was on the desk, you weren't sitting at the desk, correct?
I was previously,
You
but
didn't pick up the gun when you walked away from the desk?
no.
So the gun isn't always near you, fair to say?
I always have visual on it. This is something that is instilled in you from the Marine Corps. You always know where your weapon is. You always are aware of who's around it.
Was it instilled in you in the Marine Corps to leave your gun out on a desk if you're nervous about the other people who have access to it?
Again, I know who is around it at all times.
You've testified that you were nervous about Caitlyn, correct?
Sure, yes,
Okay, and you testified today, you didn't tell the police, but you testified today, or I guess on Friday, that you had taught Caitlyn how to use that gun, correct?
yes,
Okay. And today, you testified that you were concerned because she was in close proximity to the gun, right?
which is again why I wasn't leaving the room.
But you were concerned, and that's what you've testified today, that Caitlyn was in close proximity to the gun, right?
Yes,
Part of that concern that you thought maybe she might go for the gun?
and I can't say hypotheticals, but that was the point of me staying in the room and constant visual on her and Elwyn.
Well, you can't say hypotheticals, but you sure testify that you didn't know someone was outside your door, correct?
Yes,
That's a hypothetical, right?
I suppose so, yes.
Can't say hypotheticals, but you sure testify that you weren't sure if Caitlyn had texted somebody to come to the house, correct?
Yes,
You can't say hypotheticals, but you sure testify that you didn't know if Caitlyn had brought other people with her from Minnesota, correct?
yes.
Now, I want to talk to you a little bit more about your calmness under stress. You told a story on Friday, the third story, I believe, about what happened to you in Las Vegas, right? You were directed to talk about the third thing. And
Yes,
so let's talk about that third thing. In Las Vegas, one night when Caitlyn was at work, correct?
yes, I believe she was babysitting someone, yes.
Okay, but that's work, right? She was making money doing that?
Yes, yes,
You were at home and you heard a person try to get into the front door, correct?
yes,
That person was a stranger?
yes,
You didn't know them?
no,
Had no reason to have feelings for that person?
no,
No love for them?
no.
You picked up your gun when you heard that person at the door, correct?
Yes, after bringing Elwyn upstairs and made sure that she was safe upstairs and not to move.
Left her in a place in the house where you didn't have eyes on her, correct?
They would have had to got through me to get to her.
You picked up your gun?
Yes.
You made sure that it was loaded with a clip in it?
And it was loaded previously, but yes.
Okay. You racked the slide to make it ready to fire?
It was, at that point, actually, it was already loaded.
So you already had it ready to fire?
Yes,
So when you told the police in your statement that you are a person who never keeps the gun with a bullet in the chamber, that wasn't quite true, correct?
never, I guess I shouldn't have said an absolute like never, but a majority of the time, it is in condition 3, not condition 1. So normally without a round in the chamber.
So when the person was trying to break in your front door and you picked up your gun, it was already ready to go, right?
Yes,
Was the safety on?
yes,
Did you turn it off?
no,
So you approached the stranger at your front door with a loaded gun ready to fire, but the safety's still on, correct?
yes, that is how you train. You don't take the safety off until immediately before you fire, and then you immediately put it back on.
And holding that gun, you told the stranger to leave.
Yes,
Holding that gun, you told the stranger that you were armed, correct?
yes,
Holding that gun, you opened your front door to the stranger and said you should go, correct?
yes,
Holding that gun, you showed the stranger your weapon, and you said, look, I'm armed, correct?
yes,
You told the stranger you could shoot, correct?
no, but
Pretty much
I'm
implied.
flashing it, yes, yes,
You had called the police that night.
yes,
Your muscle memory didn't take over, right? You didn't just shoot the stranger,
because the stranger wasn't holding my child,
but the stranger was trying to break into the house where your child was located.
but I was in between that person and the child. And they
But-
they were never in the house.
And you didn't shoot that stranger in the head, did you?
No.
You waited for the police and the stranger just walked away.
Well, they continued banging on windows and trying to get in through windows, and then eventually left as I stayed downstairs and monitored.
So this person not just knocks on your door and attempts to break in, but now they're breaking through windows, you don't see your child, and you don't shoot,
They
correct?
didn't actually break a window, but they were banging on windows, yes.
You testified that on February the 14th of 2024, you called the Berlin Police Department, right?
Yes,
And you called them because you just had a fight over the phone, so you say, with Caitlyn, correct?
yes,
And that was about custody, correct?
yes,
And in that phone conversation, is it fair to say that Caitlyn made some of the same statements you've testified she made on the 29th before you shot her?
yes,
You say that she was demanding money, she wanted the kids on her taxes, She was never gonna let you see them again, and she was gonna bring them back to Minnesota, correct?
Yes,
So to call the Berlin Police Department, you had to look up that phone number, correct?
I did, yes.
You spoke with somebody for over 6 minutes at the police department, didn't you?
Okay, yes.
On February 29th, you had your cell phone with you, right?
I couldn't say where it was, but
You had it while Caitlyn was at your apartment?
yes,
You had it the whole time that she was there?
yes,
You had it the every 15 to 30 minutes that you walked in to ask her to leave and she ignored you?
well, I wasn't seeing a threat at that point.
But you were nervous.
I was, yes.
You testified just now that that made you wonder what the plan was, what she was gonna do, whether something was afoot, correct?
But I don't think that would be appropriate to call the police over.
But then, after those, you didn't shoot her then either, correct?
No,
So after going into the room every 15 to 30 minutes, and let's be clear, this is from lunchtime, correct, until it gets dark.
yes,
So
so,
let's say from noon till maybe 5 p.m.?
sure,
Okay,
yes.
just as an average, right? So 12 to 1, 1 to 2, 2 to 3, 3 to 4, 4 to 5, 5 hours, right? At any time during those, either the 5 hours or at any time during the day prior to shooting Caitlyn in the head, you never tried to force her to get out of your apartment, correct?
No, I didn't physically try to force her out of the home, no.
You knew that you could, right?
Because I'm stronger, I guess?
Well, you've in fact
Sure.
made her leave a home before, correct?
Your Honor, may we approach?
Sure.
Mr. Duren, you've made Caitlyn leave a house before, correct? Yes or no?
No,
Court's indulgence. Mr. Duren, at no time before you shot Caitlyn in the head did you call the police and tell them that she was refusing to leave your home, correct?
no,
At no time before you shot her in the head did you call the police and tell them that you were afraid that she was going to harm your children, correct?
that's correct.
At no time before you shot her in the head, at any point during that day, did you call the police and say that you were afraid she would take your children, correct?
I did prior to that, but not that day, no,
You mean the February 14th phone call, correct?
yes,
You didn't call the police back, correct?
no,
You didn't call back the officer that you spoke with for 6 minutes?
no,
You had set it up so that they were aware, correct?
yes.
But you never bothered to call them that day and say, hey, get this woman out of my house, correct?
Because at the point that this was happening, this was a moment-to-moment situation. I couldn't take my eyes or my focus off of Elwyn or Caitlyn.
Between 12 p.m. and 5 p.m., you asked Caitlyn to leave approximately, what, 12 times?
Well, yes, but that didn't seem appropriate enough a reason to call the police over.
She was staying in your house against your will, correct?
I was trying to figure out the plan.
You were not concerned enough that you needed to call the police to have her leave, correct?
At that point, no.
But even though you wanted her to leave, you did nothing to make it happen.
I was
Correct.
trying to figure out the plan.
Mr. Duren, after you shot the police and you've testified here today that you didn't understand what had happened, correct?
Can you clarify? I
You
shot the
testi-
police?
After you shot Caitlyn, you have testified today that you did not understand what had happened, correct?
Yes, I was trying to figure it out.
You were trained as a Marine, right?
Yes?
You know what happens when you fire a gun at somebody, correct?
Yes.
You know what the intention is when you point and fire a gun at somebody, correct?
Yes.
And that intention is to kill.
Yes.
You knew that you had done that you had killed Caitlyn, correct?
I didn't consciously realize that it was Caitlyn until, like I said, I was in the car with Elwyn.
So you knew that there was somebody dead on the couch in your living room, right?
My focus was Elwyn.
And you knew that it was Caitlyn who had set you off and made you grab the gun.
I don't know if I would say set me off, but yes.
Well, you
Yes.
described it as a tick, right?
Yes.
Setting you off, it's a tick, right?
Hurting my child in front of me. Yes.
Okay. And your testimony today is that that is the reason why you fired.
Yes.
After you shot her, you didn't call the police to report that you had just killed somebody inside of your own apartment.
No.
You didn't call the police and report that you had done that because somebody had hurt your child, correct?
No.
You didn't do that to say to the police, hey, I thought they were going to kidnap my child, correct?
Correct.
You didn't call the police and say, hey, I thought that my child was being held hostage and I had no choice, correct?
I did not call the police and tell them those things, no.
You never called the police, did you?
I called my parents and told them to call the police,
I
yes.
agree that's not calling the police, correct?
Technically, no.
Not technically, sir. It is not calling the police to call your parents who live thousands of miles away. Fair to say?
Okay, yes.
Now, Mr. Duren, you and Caitlyn ostensibly, for lack of a better term, broke up in August of 2023, correct?
Well, I guess a couple weeks before, end of July. But
End of
yes,
July?
yes,
Okay.
yes.
And since that time, you've engaged in different arguments about the children, fair to say?
Sure, yes.
About their custody, who they should live with more often than not, fair to say?
Sure, yes.
You've had the same arguments since you broke up that you've described to us here in your testimony today, right?
Not to that extent, but yes, yes,
Okay. But you've had arguments about money since August of 2023.
yes,
You've testified that those arguments involved Caitlyn asking you for more money, correct?
yes,
You've had arguments about how much time the other parent should get to spend with each child, correct?
no, not how much they should spend. I always wanted to try to keep it 50-50.
You wanted to keep it 50-50, but since August, you've seen Valen, I think you said 93 times, and Caitlyn had her 48, correct?
Or I think it was 98 and 48 and then 15 split. But that was a lot of what Caitlyn was telling me about was just how difficult it was to try to work and also care for the kids at the same time. So it was just making sense with me having them more. That wasn't me demanding that I needed them more, no.
Okay. But you wanted to have full custody of them with her elsewhere, correct?
No, absolutely not.
You testified that you've spoken with attorneys in both Nevada and Minnesota, correct?
Yes,
You never filed for custody in Nevada? Correct?
no,
You never filed for custody in Minnesota, correct?
no,
You never filed paperwork with any court, correct?
no,
There is no court order that gave you sole custody of these children, correct?
No, I didn't want full custody or sole custody.
And there was no court order that took away Caitlyn's rights to custody of the children, correct?
No.
She, in fact, and you had the same or equal rights to both children, correct?
Objection, speculation.
Overruled.
That's correct, yes.
Now, when you walked over to your desk to pick up the gun, you picked up the gun, correct?
Yes,
You testified that you racked the slide.
yes,
That placed a bullet in the chamber, correct?
yes.
You left the safety on at that point because you were not quite ready to fire?
Well, I'm fairly certain when you rack it back, the safety gets flipped off because the hammer is back.
Caitlyn saw you pick up the gun, didn't she?
I'm sure she did, yes.
Caitlyn heard you rack the slide, correct?
Your Honor, may we approach?
Is when you rack the slide, correct?
Sure, yeah.
Yeah, you can hear it, right?
You can hear it.
You heard it in this room when Jill Terrio racked a slide on an unloaded gun, correct?
Yes,
So you can assume if Caitlyn's sitting closer to the gun than you were, she heard it, right?
yes.
She reacted, didn't she?
She did not, no.
Caitlyn didn't ask you what you were doing?
Maybe she attempted to say that.
Well, did she attempt to say, "What are you doing?" or did she say, "What are you doing?"
I can't say.
Mr. Duren, do you recall what Caitlyn did that was her attempt to say, "What are you doing"?
No.
Mr. Duren, you reviewed all of the evidence for this case, correct?
I hope so, yes.
Okay, you've spoken to your attorneys about it?
Yes.
You've gone over any reports that were created?
Your Honor, may we approach?
I apologize, Your Honor.
Yep, members of the jury, I'm going to strike the last question and answer and just indicate that relative to any instructions or conduct between Mr. Duren and his attorneys would be attorney-client privileged, and you are to consider, not to consider the last question and answer. Thank you.
Thank you, Your Honor. Mr. Duren, I'm showing you what's been marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 33 in this matter. Just looking at that header, and I'm not asking you to read anything out loud, but looking at this document, do you recognize it?
Yes.
It's a document that was prepared, correct?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to ask you to take a look at this document. I'm going to ask you, counsel, for your information, it's on page 2 of that document. I'm going to ask you to take a look at the third paragraph, and really it's towards the bottom here. I'm going to ask you to read those to yourself, and you look up when you're done.
Okay.
Does that refresh your recollection as to whether Caitlyn asked you what you were doing with the gun?
I'll just say, I'm not going to comment on what someone else said. I said, someone else said.
So, the answer is, in here, it says that you told someone that Caitlyn had asked you what you were doing with the gun, correct?
I'm not going to say why someone else said I said something.
But that doesn't refresh your recollection that Caitlyn looked at you after she saw the gun, after she heard the slide rack and said, "What are you gonna do?" Correct?
She did not say that, no.
Well, let's look at another document associated with that. Say Exhibit 34 for identification. And I ask you to take a look at this document right here where the tab is marked, and you can look at the whole thing afterwards. It's underlined on the page that's tabbed. Have you seen that report? That's a draft copy of that report you just looked at, right?
Well, that would be the same person, so yes.
And that same person is somebody that you met with, spoke with, and provided information about this incident, correct?
Sure, yes.
Okay. Someone who you've described in messages as the key to everything, correct?
No.
That report where it says, and Caitlyn nonchalantly,
Your Honor, may we approach?
so Mr. Duren, after you picked up the gun, racked the slide, you walked back over to where Caitlyn was on the sofa, correct?
Yes.
To walk around the coffee table to get there?
Yes.
You grabbed Elowen with one hand,
Yes.
had no issue taking her from Caitlyn at that moment, correct?
I never took her and never said I did. I pulled her back. The reason being to create some sort of distance, for two reasons. To create some sort of distance between Elowen and the threat, and then two, to control Elowen while I took the shot, just to make sure that she didn't, like, all of a sudden jerk in front of the path or something like that.
So you were holding Elowen back with one arm, correct? Controlling her.
Yes.
You were holding the gun in the other arm, your right hand.
Yes.
You extended your arm to fire, correct?
No. So, I mean, it could be helpful if I actually showed the exact positions, but my hand would have been, like, as I'm leaning forward over because the table's over here, the couch is in front of me, I'm leaning forward, because Caitlyn's leaning back against the back of the couch with Elowen. So I'm leaning forward, grabbing her, and then the gun would have been probably back here as I'm firing.
And you're firing like this?
Well, whatever this motion is, yes.
Without looking through the sights?
No,
Without
I was
aiming
not
in any
looking through
way?
the sights, no. I was absolutely aiming, yes,
With your hand behind you or next to your body?
yes.
So you couldn't see the exact location where that barrel was pointed, correct?
When someone fires a gun tens of thousands of times, you know where it's aiming at all times.
You know where it's aiming when you're standing like this with your gun here.
Absolutely.
You know if your elbow's not cocked in the wrong position. You know if you're off by an inch. Is that fair to say?
Yes,
You testified when, or actually you told the police, they asked you if you knew where you had shot Caitlyn, correct?
yes,
And you told them you did, exactly. You described exactly where on her head she was shot, correct?
yes,
On the side of her head, in a place where it was covered by her hair.
yes.
You know, Mr. Duren, your testimony today, just want to go through a couple of things in there. Oh, before we get to that. After you shot Caitlyn, that's when you began loading the car, correct?
Afterwards, yes,
You packed food and water.
yes,
You took pillows and blankets.
yes.
You took multiple changes of clothing for you, correct?
I just grabbed clothes, yes.
Multiple changes, correct? Multiple shirts, multiple sweatshirts.
Sure, yes,
You grabbed multiple changes of clothing for Elwin.
yes,
You grabbed multiple changes of clothing for Valen.
yes.
You testified today that you took your work computer because that's a necessity.
That's why I'm guessing I grabbed it, yeah.
Because you were running, right?
I needed to get out of the area immediately, yes.
Because you had murdered Caitlyn.
No, absolutely not. I guess I should clarify, yes, I had shot her, but at no point did I ever think that it was murder. No.
But you ran.
I got out of the area and made sure that my kids were safe, not just physically, but mentally.
Well, after you shot Caitlyn, there was no danger in the house, right? Just her body on the couch.
Yes. But again, I didn't know if people were coming or what was going on.
You didn't know if the police were going to come, right?
I guess, yeah.
And so you turned off the lights, you deadbolted your apartment, and you fled, correct?
Well, I don't even really remember doing that, but if you say that happened, then sure, okay.
Well, you heard the testimony of the
Yes.
people who went into your house, correct?
I did.
That
So,
there was a deadbolt, that they had to ram your door open.
well, again, I don't even know if I had the key to the actual doorknob, but the deadbolt was just how you locked that door.
Okay, but it was
So-
very important to make sure that it was locked in those moments that you left, correct?
No, I guess it was just something that I did.
So
Hey,
you
you
f-
leave the house, you shut the lights off, and you lock the door.
So you fled. You drove south, correct?
I like Southwest, yes.
And after you called your parents, you went dark, correct?
Yes,
And you did that so you wouldn't be found, correct?
because I wanted to spend more time with my kids and make sure that they were mentally okay.
And you knew the police were gonna look for you because there was a dead body in your apartment, correct?
I did, yes.
Now, that phone call with your parents, your testimony today is that all you did was say, "We're safe, I killed Caitlyn," and that was it, correct?
I mean, there was a little bit more, but yes, essentially, yes.
Well, there was a lot more, right? Because it was a 13-minute phone call, correct?
I mean, okay,
I mean, you saw the records. You have those.
yes,
You spoke to your mom for 13 minutes before you turned off your phone and went dark, correct?
okay, yes.
Even after you decided to turn yourself in, you didn't call the police and say, "Hey, I'm gonna come turn myself in," correct?
At no point did I call the police, no.
And you never actually went to the police, correct?
No,
You drove past police barracks, correct?
yes,
And in your statement to police, you said it was because you were gonna have breakfast with your girls, right? But you'd already had breakfast with them in New York, according to
Well,
your testimony today, correct?
brunch, because the time I don't remember exactly what time that was, but like 10:30 or 11, but
You wanted to
Yes.
delay being with the police or turning yourself in for as long as you could, correct?
not as long as I could, but it's probably fair to say that, yes, I was delaying it.
Now, Mr. Durham, before you left your apartment after you'd shot Caitlyn, did you check to see if she was still alive?
I knew she was not. But no,
So you
I
didn't check?
I never specifically went up to her body, no.
So while you were packing this house over the course of minutes to load your car, you never checked to see if just maybe there was a chance she was alive?
I knew that she was not.
You never called 911 just to be sure? to get an ambulance to protect the mother of your children, Caitlyn, who you were so devastated about having shot, correct?
Correct.
Her being dead is what you wanted when you pulled the trigger, correct?
Absolutely not.
Well, you're a Marine. You're trained in using a gun, correct?
Yes.
You know that the only reason to point a gun at somebody is to kill them, correct?
Yes.
So when you fired, that's what you wanted.
No. All I was thinking of was Elowen. My focus was Elowen. My entire mindset was save Elowen.
Well,
This was not about Caitlyn.
Mr. Duren, you were saving Elowen from being squeezed too tight, correct? From being pulled away from you, correct?
From being hurt. Yes.
And you've indicated here that it was your Marine training that kicked in, correct?
It was, yes.
And your Marine training tells you that when you point a gun at somebody, it's to kill, correct?
Yes.
And so the end result that you knew would happen when you pointed that gun at Caitlyn was that you were going to kill her, correct?
In a very, very basic sense, I guess so, yes.
You didn't shoot to wound Caitlyn, did you?
No.
You didn't shoot her in the arm?
No.
You didn't shoot her in the leg?
No.
You shot her in the head because that would kill her, correct?
Sure, yes.
I mean, Mr. Duren, your defense here today that you want to be justified is that you acted purposefully with deadly force to kill her because she was hurting Elowen. That's your defense, right?
Yes.
But yet you're still hesitating as to whether that's what you wanted.
Because I never wanted Caitlyn dead at any point.
Except as a Marine, you knew the moment you pulled your gun and aimed it at her that that's what your goal would be, correct?
The goal was to eliminate a threat to my child.
The goal was to eliminate the child's mother, correct?
The goal was to eliminate a threat that was holding my child hostage and hurting her in front of me.
And that person was your child's mother who had just as many rights to hold that child as you did, correct?
Tragically, yes.
Mr. Duren, in your testimony, well, again, your defense is that you shot Caitlyn and that it was justified, correct?
Yes.
We heard the detailed statement. You sat here with us and listened of your 2-hour interview with officers, right?
Yes.
And you've also testified here today.
Yes.
At no time during that statement you gave to officers, right after this incident happened, did you tell the police that you had to kill Caitlyn to protect Elowen, did you?
I didn't specifically say that, but with me describing the event, I described that.
You described that Caitlyn wouldn't let go of Elowen, correct?
Yes.
You described that she was holding Elowen in a bear hug, correct?
Yes.
You told officers that her not letting go was the tick that caused you to shoot her.
No, the tick was her screaming. Or I think in the interview I said her yelling.
Well, isn't it fair to say that during the interview you actually never said that Elowen yelled or shrieks, correct?
I did say that. I said, I think specifically I said what is big in my head is Elowen yelling.
Well, that was after the
Or
movie.
screaming or yelling.
That was after you fired.
No, that was just before.
Court's indulgence.
Yes.
it's marked for identification purposes as State's Exhibit 27. I believe that, Mr. Duren, you're welcome to look through this, but most of the actual incident starts on about page 58, moving forward. Once you go ahead and look through that transcript and tell me, or tell us, or look up when you find where you told the police that Elowen screamed before you shot Caitlyn.
Are you sure this is the right area? Is this where it is?
You're welcome to look through the entire transcript, sir, if you want to find it.
I mean, I'm sure my attorneys know. I just don't know if you're expecting me to go through the entire thing right now to find it.
Well, Mr. Duren, you're saying that you told the police that, correct?
Yes.
On page 59 of the transcript, actually, it's really the bottom of page 59, you describe the shooting, correct? You say, I grab it, chamber it, grab Elowen, pull her back, and shot, correct?
Yes.
And then you say it was very immediate. Obviously, what was big in my head is Elowen went yelling. She definitely heard it. And you're describing her reaction after the gunshot, correct?
No, no. That's what I'm talking about.
Oh, you're saying.
Obviously, what is big in my head is Elowen yelling.
So let's just follow through. Page 59 of the transcript. It reads, after a couple of times of me trying to grab Elowen, and her not letting go, it was very fast, very deliberate.
Your Honor.
Overall,
Is that fair to say that that's what the transcript was indicating, sir?
That it was indicating what? $59.
So you're talking to the police in your statement about shooting Caitlyn, correct?
Yes.
You describe the shooting of Caitlyn.
Yes.
And then you say, after you shot, Elowen went to yelling.
No. I'm saying, it was finger snap, very immediate, as in my reaction to her being hurt was very immediate. Obviously, and quote, obviously what was big in my head is Elowen yelling.
And that follows with, she was complaining about the loud noise in her ears, correct?
And then there was pauses about how I really hope, I don't think she saw anything.
So describing her reaction after the shot was fired, correct? You were hoping she didn't see anything?
Later, yes.
At no time during the interview did you tell the police that you had killed Caitlyn because she was going to be kidnapping Elowen, correct?
I had suspicions, but I didn't know of any specific plan, no.
And you didn't tell the police about those suspicions that she was going to kidnap Elowen, correct?
The point of me talking about the previous situation with Valen in Nevada, that was part of that, me explaining that.
At no time did you tell the police that at the moment right before you shot Caitlyn, that Elowen was being hurt by Caitlyn, correct?
I did.
You told the police that Caitlyn had Elowen in a bear hug, correct?
Yes.
That Elowen was crying, possibly because you were arguing, correct?
I said because she was being hurt and because of the arguing prior to.
You said because Caitlyn was holding her tightly, correct?
I mean, sure. Yes.
In fact, you told police that Caitlyn had never threatened to harm Elowen, correct?
She never directly threatened to hurt Elowen, no, but she was still doing it in front of my eyes.
Today, in fact, you've testified and used the word hostage, and you've testified to say that Caitlyn was holding
Yes.
Elowen hostage in front of you in your home, correct?
And yes, because even though I was describing a hostage situation and Sergeant McLaughlin knew I was because he asked me about hostage type situations, I never actually said the word hostage. So I'm clarifying that yes, I'm specifically saying hostage, yes.
Right, even when Sergeant McLaughlin gave you that opportunity, you didn't say it, correct?
No, I did. I said yes.
Well, he only asked you if you had training in hostages, correct? That's the question you were answering.
If I had trained in hostage type situations, and yes. Meaning, yes, this was what was going on. So, and yes, I've had training in this type of situations.
Now, today, Mr. Duren, you've testified that before you shot Caitlyn, you begged her to let go of Elowen, correct?
Yes.
You never once told the police that during your interview with them, did you?
That would be weird if I didn't.
You testified today that while you were trying to take Elowen from Caitlyn, Caitlyn braced her foot on the living room table and pulled back, correct?
Yes.
You never told the police that information during your interview, did you?
This is the whole point of me being here right now, is to be as clear and concise as possible, to add details so that there is no more misinterpretations of what I said.
Well, Mr. Duren, you wanted to talk to the police, correct?
I did, yes.
You knew that you were talking to them about the murder of Caitlyn Naffziger, correct?
At no point did I ever think that this was a murder.
You knew it was important when you talked to the police to tell them everything, correct?
Well, even he said that there was a million things that I would probably think of to say.
And those million things are actually the details now of this offense, correct?
I take my oath right now very, very seriously, and I'm telling the truth.
You've testified today that on the day that you shot her, Caitlyn was demanding that you pay her more money. You said an unheard of amount, correct?
A substantial amount, yes.
You didn't tell the police that information either, did you?
Did I not? I mean, I was certainly talking about her threatening. I guess I don't directly recall if I said if it was specifically about money or not.
When we
But
say threatening, you mean her threat to call the police and take the kids, correct?
yes,
Today, you've testified that on the day that you shot her, Caitlyn told you that you'd never see your children again, correct?
yes.
You never told the police that during your interview with them, did you?
I guess I do not recall.
In fact, you told the police about that money situation that Caitlyn, on the day before you shot her, said that she told you you needed, and I don't know how to phrase this, so give me 1 second, that Caitlyn told you that you needed to sell your car, to give her the money from that sale, correct?
Oh, are you talking that
That day? Yes.
Yes, yes, if I couldn't get her that money, that then I needed to sell my car and give her the money from the car.
You didn't tell the police that information either, did you?
Again, the purpose of me being here is to be as clear and concise and give every detail that I can possibly give so that there cannot be any more misinterpretations.
Well, one moment, Your Honor.
Yes. Okay. Redirect.
So the state just tried to claim that you didn't tell the police that she was threatening to take the kids away, right?
Yes,
they just
yes.
asked you, and you just said, "Did I not?" Question mark.
Yes,
It would refresh your recollection if I showed you the transcript of all the times you told the kids that, right?
yes, it would.
All right. Judge, may I approach with what's been marked for ideas? With what's been marked for ideas states 32.
Yes.
Page 57.
Do you want me to say it?
Lines 1 and 2, does that refresh your recollection about whether or not you told the police that she was threatening to take the kids away?
Yes.
Okay. What
Your
did you,
Honor, if I can just object that refreshing recollection, Your Honor, the defendant did not indicate he did not recall.
he said, "But didn't I? Did I not?" was his answer to your question.
Counsel approach.
Sure.
Did you tell the police that she threatened to take the kids away that night?
Yes.
Do you know how many times you told the police that?
I don't know how many times, no.
Would it refresh your recollection if I showed you the transcript?
Yes, it would.
Fifty-seven. Take a look at page 81. See if it's there multiple times on page 81.
Yes.
Check page 83.
Your Honor, I just ask if the defendant is answering the question or if counsel is counting for him.
Overruled.
I'm sorry, did you say 83?
I did say 83.
I see it.
And so we can't be sure, it's a long transcript. At least how many times did you tell the police?
At least 5 times.
At least 5 times? And did the police indicate to you that they thought that that was what you had said?
Yes.
I'll take that transcript back from you. Do your best to put it back in order if you can.
Yeah.
You testified earlier that when this was happening, when you were seeing your child being held hostage in front of you, you weren't angry. Were you afraid?
Absolutely.
What was different that night than past arguments about custody?
Yes, I was able to, for the most part, brush off past arguments because, and the difference being now is because my child wasn't being held hostage in front of me and used as leverage.
And there was some back and forth about the fact that you told the police that Elwyn was yelling.
Yes.
When you told the police that Elwyn was yelling, what were you talking about? When was this yelling happening?
I'm specifically talking about right before the third attempt when I tried to grab Ellen for the third time and she pulled back, bear hugging, squeezing Ellen and twisting and yanking her backwards. That yelling.
And the state interrupted you once or twice when you wanted to clarify why this happened. But I think you said ultimately the goal was to eliminate a threat who was holding my child hostage in front of me and hurting her. Is that accurate?
Yes, yes it is.
That's all I have right now.
Recross.
Very briefly, Mr. Duren, the last question the state asked you, the one that council has just gone in and had you count inside of the transcript, let me ask you again. You testified today that Caitlyn told you before you shot her that you would never see your children again. Is that your testimony today?
Yes.
And that is something you never told the police, correct?
That specific sentence, maybe not.
It's not what was on page 57 or page 58, correct? That you just looked at with council.
Okay,
It's not on page 81 or 83, correct?
okay.
Is that a yes, sir?
Yes,
Because you never told the police that Caitlyn made such a threat that day, correct?
if you are insinuating that I'm lying right now, that is not true. I am here clarifying, being as clear and concise as I possibly can be.
No other questions?
Okay. Give Mr. Duren step down.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, defense is rested. Anything further from the state relative to rebuttal?
No, Your Honor, the state has no further witnesses and rests.
Okay, all right, thank you. Members of the jury, the evidence is now closed. At this time, there are several things that I have to attend to with the attorneys, as is standard in a matter such as this. So what we are going to do is we are going to break for the day. Okay, we are going to break for the day. You'll be dismissed for purposes of today and to return at 9 o'clock tomorrow. At 9 o'clock promptly, we will start closing arguments by both the defense and by the state. And I will instruct you tomorrow, and you will have time tomorrow to begin your deliberations. So again, tomorrow morning at 9 o'clock, you'll hear closing arguments, you'll hear my instructions, and then you will receive the case tomorrow. So I'm going to stop for the day here. Again, please do not discuss the case with yourself. Do not discuss the case with anybody else. Please avoid any media coverage relative to the matter. Please conduct no research whatsoever about any matter that you've heard in the courtroom. Please do not transmit anything by way of your own social media. You've been very faithful to my instructions so far, and I have no doubt that you will between now and tomorrow. So again, we'll reconvene at 9 o'clock tomorrow. Go directly to closing arguments, and you will have the case tomorrow, okay? Thank you. Dismissed for the day. Be in recess until 1 o'clock. Thank you.